Hi. Hi, my name is Claire Harrison, and welcome to our webinar this month, which is on the very exciting topic of HR tech and AI. We will run for about 45 minutes, lots to cover. It's a huge topic, so we won't have time for questions, but feel free to connect with me later on LinkedIn or elsewhere to send through any questions that you may have. So today's webinar on tech and AI is on the back of my attendance of a conference in Paris called Unleash World, which was about HR, tech and AI. So I went to most of the topics on tech and AI, as well as some of the general HR topics and sessions as well. But it's also about, a love and a real interest in looking at tech and AI and how we can use it to help us in HR and to help organisations. So that's what we'll be talking about today. I will go quite speedily through, but like I say, feel free to get in touch with any questions post-webinar. So a disclaimer is that we're not providing any legal advice, but most importantly in this presentation is that I'm also not a tech specialist. So I'm not the person to talk to in terms of programming or languages or how to do your APIs in terms of integrating systems. So I'm coming at it very much from the HR space. For those who don't know Harrison's, just a little bit about us. So we have 4 core services, which is first one being consulting. So that's consulting across any area across HR, workplace relations, work health and safety, leadership, development, coaching for organisations. Our second service is HR team, which we explain as being outsourced, insourced HR. So that very much suits an SME business, anything from 30, 50 employees up to a few hundred at least, where they have a significant workforce. So they've identified the need for a HR professional to support them, but they outsource it to Harrison's as a team with specialists and IP and tools and templates across a whole lot of different areas to support them in the implementation of their HR needs. We develop a plan, we do an audit, we do an engagement survey, and then we do allocate a senior consultant as your HR manager to work on site with you to deliver on that plan that we've established. Our third service is recruitment and onboarding. That's mainly around executive, manager, professional level roles. And My HR Experts is our online subscription site. There's a whole lot of webinars, tools and templates to support you in terms of your HR needs in your business. Okay, so let's look at what we're going to cover today. And really, this is just an overview of the many topics we're going to cover today. We'll talk a little bit about the basics of AI, which when we get to it, I'll explain, is actually a really big topic in itself. Key trends around HR tech and AI. I'm sure we're all interested in having a discussion around the ethical considerations and governance and privacy and security. Future of tech and AI in HR specifically, and where do you start? And look, I'm sure we've got people on the webinar today who there was some that may not be using AI at all, right through to an advanced user or organisation. So I'll try and get middle ground, and hopefully everyone can get something out of today. So just looking, this whole area of HR tech and AI is moving really, really fast. There's a huge amount of money going into investment to develop systems and to develop AI. As I'm sure we've all seen, we're overwhelmed with the amount of systems that are on offer, some really broad systems from a HR perspective that cover all HR functions or say they will cover all functions, versus more narrower systems that are maybe just doing a discrete part of the HR function. So we'll talk a bit about that, but it's growing, and you're all on the webinar because you want to know more about it, which is wonderful. So really it presents, in my mind, it's a great opportunity for HR people and HR functions, because it helps us in terms of streamlining, eliminating, minimising that amount of administration work and processing, so that we can focus on more of the value-adding parts of HR people and culture around business partnering, strategy, change, all of those areas that really have the biggest impact on an organisation. And the same goes for organisations. We're talking specifically today about tech and AI in HR, but huge opportunities across entire organisations around the way they deliver their services or their products and run the other functions of their business as well. So it's a great opportunity. It's new, it's changing and evolving, but important for us all to get our heads around what's going on. So, like I say, in terms of what is AI, one, I'm not the best person to talk to you in terms of the depth of AI and the history in terms of where it's come from, where it's at, but I'll just cover off on some of these points just to lay a little bit of a foundation for the webinar today. So in terms of AI, we are going to talk mostly today, which is what most people are talking about and you would be at work about, a narrow sort of a small area of AI, which is generative AI. So generative AI focuses specifically on creating models that are capable of generating new content or information. And it differs from other forms of AI in its ability to be able to generate unique and new and original output. So AI, there are algorithms like those from OpenAI, which ChatGPT uses, for example. It gathers vast amounts of data from the internet, including texts, images, and videos. These algorithms process and analyse the collected data to learn and make predictions. So algorithms like ChatGPT can process vast amounts of data. So ChatGPT's 3.5 version, which we've moved on from, but the 3.5 version, we saw those very human-like responses, and that is what really in the last 6-12 months has really revolutionised AI, especially we're seeing it in our day-to-day lives and at work. So understanding the benefits and challenges of AI tools can help you, individuals, make informed decisions about the use of AI, especially as it relates to work. So in terms of just the next topic around the essence of work, so work involves solving problems, implementing strategies. Effective work requires rapid synthesis and analysis of information. The nature of work can vary from simple to complex problems. So where the benefit and impact of generative AI is on that task automation. So ChatGPT and other large language models, LLMs, are revolutionising that task automation. So these AI models excel at automating specific tasks, leading to increased productivity. So with AI handling those routine tasks, people can focus on problem solving and innovation. And that's our impact at work and the benefits. The benefits and applications of automation tools enhance organisational efficiency and effectiveness. They assist in synthesising various tasks, idealising various tasks to move them ahead. These tools offer a wide range of skills and applications. We're going to talk about the HR ones that I think are hot that we should be using today, but there are many. So next we need to think about, it's a changing world and the new skills that we need for that. So, it's exponential change that we're seeing from a work perspective, but obviously that's filtering through to personal lives as well. So, it's moving more to that problem solving, being so necessary. The adaptability, the creativity, the empathy are all personal human skills that are needed now and more so moving into the future. So creativity and empathy are unique human talents that set us apart from machines and will continue to for the foreseeable future. These skills are crucial for success in complex and unique problem solving. So, a really key point that came out of the conference is that we're not replacing the human element that is necessary in work and nor the HR function that's needed to be able to facilitate, support, lead that. So synthesising information and creative problem solving is integral to what we need currently and moving forward. So the large language models, the LLMs, like ChatGPT, excel in synthesizing information from diverse sources. Humans are creative problem solvers and general purpose self-problem solvers. So various methods exist to leverage these tools effectively. So we just need to think about the impact of technology on knowledge and intelligence. You know, you hear people say that it's going to make us all more stupid. To the other side, what the prediction is and the research is that the technology creates the potential to access information, for everyone to access information, and therefore raise the intelligence levels of humanity. However, it also brings psychological challenges, which we will discuss a little bit later on, and may not always lead to the desired outcomes. So the evolution of technology should be carefully considered to ensure its positive impact on society. So I know we all have different views on that. We will talk a bit about that toward the end of the webinar. So another potential challenge for some maybe is that information overload. So there's just so much information, it could be overwhelming. And does it require quick action? Because it moves very quickly. And then how can we deal with so much information ourselves? The tools and technology provide easy access to the information, but are they designed to exploit our cognitive biases? We'll talk a bit about bias later on. So using AI tools to analyse candidate data, for example, for hiring decisions, can lead to biased results, favouring white men. We might have seen back in 2018 the data bias that was coming out of Amazon's initial AI-driven recruitment tool, which I think was designed back in 2014, but 18 is when the problems, it went into practice and the problems were identified. So it's crucial to consider how the data is used and implement to address that bias, and that comes down to us in terms of what data we're allowing it to pull in and what protocols we put around it. So we need to be really careful with that. Automated generators can be utilised to manage data bias effectively, and that is happening now. There's also those ethical AI practices and regulation. So discussion on the importance of ethical AI has been happening since the 1980s. There's a need for regulation, which we will talk about later on, for the responsible use of AI. We'll talk about the EU regulations. And the goal really for us all is to leverage the advantages of AI while minimising that bias and human error that does exist. So look, that's just a bit of background around the whole huge topic of AI, what it is, the impact, the benefits, the considerations, and where we're at. So I'll move more now specifically into the HR, tech and AI trends. So let's start with the workforce disruption. So we are seeing the AI technology play a crucial role in addressing workforce and the disruption that it is a part of. What we do see, we continue globally, generally, to experience at the moment low unemployment rates, declining birth rates, especially in developed nations, flat workforce growth, and that's a challenge for economic productivity. So we all very much in Australia, we continue to experience the challenge in terms of attracting and retaining people because of this low unemployment rate and the shortage of people in many areas. So, we'll talk about that a bit later in terms of the hot trends, because the technology can definitely help us in some of those areas. So HR transformation and tech market challenges. So we'll say the industry is undergoing a systematic transformation with it's a new operating model for HR. We are so significantly more reliant, in a good way, I would hope, on technology. The HR function needs to justify, as it always has, but it's difficult for HR, its position. But organisationally, we look at revenue per employee, and revenue per employee is a key metric to assess HR effectiveness. We understanding as HR professionals, it's not just our responsibility. But that continues to increase. The revenue per employee is continuing to increase, and that's about that efficiency and effectiveness of a worker. The HR function should be designed to address the multifaceted business problems, just like we have in the past. HR needs to have a seat on the table, definitely as an executive, but be part of understanding what the organisational strategy is and how it is that the workforce and people and the technology around that can solve those business problems and achieve the ideal organisational outcomes. We said before there's been a proliferation of HR tech on the market. It's so difficult to try and choose one from the other and to find the perfect system for our organisations. I'm going to talk a bit more about the vendors a little bit later. But really the value proposition of ServiceNow lies in integrating various systems to connect and unify all of these diverse systems, because there's not one perfect system is sort of where we're sitting in the market at the moment. But if we think about AI and using it personally, at work, professionally, Josh Burson spoke about the super worker. So here, entering us as super workers, supposedly. So the super worker, a superhuman experience using the AI tools. So AI tools like Microsoft Copilot enhance human capabilities, making us super workers. And I will say, and I'll mention Microsoft later on, but if you're a business organisation that's in a SharePoint Microsoft environment, then highly recommend that you're turning on the Copilot functionality. It still is very much in its development phase, but definitely over the last few months that we've been using and have even noticed there's just additional features all the time in terms of different products, but also it's quickly evolving into being more useful. But that's just one product and there are others. So it raises the questions about performance management, succession planning, leadership identification, skill development, org design to leverage these advancements. So organisations need to adapt to optimise the benefits of AI-powered workforce. We need to embrace that change and look at how we can use it. I'm going to talk a little bit about how we can do that. So integrating AI in enterprise technology, so the big players in the market around HR tech and AI, it enhances that user interface. So interfaces for user interaction without all the complex buttons and menus. So we're going to talk about agents. AI technology is revolutionising the enterprise technology, the HR tech, and non-AI companies are acquiring those smaller AI vendors to build that internal AI platform and also acquiring the IP as well as the knowledge as well. So that is, we're seeing a lot of that happen in the market of the larger players buying the smaller players in the market that are often more narrow in terms of a specific service they deliver, product they're delivering. So AI features are rapidly evolving in the HR tech. Hopefully we've all seen that in the systems we have. There's real-time conversations with AI systems are possible in systems like Galileo or whatever else. AI can interpret data from photographic images, integrating them into the system. We'll talk about a lot of the functionality, but it's mind-blowing really to look at the options. So just in terms of looking at the market of HR tech, it's amazing to look at in terms of its growth and the money that's going into it. So the major vendors, and we see all of these in Australia, SAP, Workday, Oracle, ADP, UKG, which is Kronos, and Dayforce, formerly Ceridian. So smaller vendors that are doing some great things are companies like Lattice, Culture Amp, and HiBob, but they are smaller players in the market. But that slide just shows the amount of money that is sitting in this sector. And just to show this a little bit more, and you can't see the numbers, but the point here is just to show basically, and it says on the slide here, the HR tech stock returns are slowing now only slightly above the S&P 500. So what that is showing, and you look at a company like ServiceNow, which I will talk about later on, and I recommend everyone has a look at, but in terms of the growth of those HR tech type companies, is incredible in terms of their market value. Just a little, we'll talk about this later, but this is from Josh Burson's presentation. So basically what this is showing is where we're going to, and basically all these little people are little agents. So agents are like a chatbot that you can talk to, an employee can talk to support them in whatever area that might be. And we're going to talk about that more, but agents are definitely something that you need to get your head across, as does every organisation, because it's not specific to tech. So this is a company that we hear about a lot in Australia, so SAP SuccessFactors. Josh did talk about others, but he did put SuccessFactors up first as a company that is doing great things in terms of using AI. So Joule is their, I suppose, version of Copilot. The benefit of, or ChatGPT functionality sits within SuccessFactors, and I'm just using as an example because I know that they're well progressed, is so what sits within the system, which is a good thing, rather than going out to ChatGPT and putting in your position description information, for example, is that would all sit within your system and you can guide it based on all of your information. So the upside of that, there's a lot of privacy that can, because it's staying in your system, you're not putting data out to ChatGPT and the world. You know, you can put the parameters around it. So if it's writing PDs or whatever else, it's looking at the skills or the frameworks or the structure of your specific organisation. So there are products like SuccessFactors that are well progressed in this area and doing some really interesting and impressive things. So that's the intro in terms of a little bit about where the HR tech is at in terms of players and what's on offer. I'm going to talk about the hot usage areas. So these are the areas that if you're not looking at, you should definitely look at. And the number one, highly recommend, is that if you're not using it at all in the recruitment process and onboarding for that matter, then you should definitely be doing that. There is a huge opportunity in this area, as there always is, I think, in HR tech. So it's always the area when we're talking with clients in terms of if they're looking at implementing a HRIS, it's like you go with the recruitment and onboarding first, because from a HR team perspective, it's always the area that soaks up a huge amount of time and effort. There's opportunity because we're at a difficult time in terms of attracting and hiring and retaining people, and so it helps with that. So, and I think financially, it's where if you're trying to get this to sell it to your organisation, your CEO, whoever else, it's where you can show financially and other metrics that quickly sell the value and benefit of the technology. So there are so many case studies here around how the tech and AI, tech with AI, has been used to reduce time and cost to hire significantly. And that creates a huge competitive advantage for your organisation to be able to move through that recruitment and selection process quicker than your competitors, in that you can move through the process and be able to offer quicker than your competitors. And I would say also with a better experience for your candidates as well if you're using the tech and AI well. So vendors are definitely exploring and enhancing their AI in recruitment functionality. There are loads of AI-powered tools that are used for things like resume screening, candidate matching, scheduling interviews, voice-activated agents doing phone screening. They're also using them for interview. I've seen these beautiful reports that get presented post an AI interview that summarises the person's based on responses. They can do DISC profiling or similar, aptitude testing. You get the profile based on their job requirements versus their responses based on all of the information. And that's just a shortlist that can go straight to line managers. So it is absolutely amazing in terms of what's on offer here. Vendors are enhancing their expertise and consolidating CRM functionality into platforms like one of them is Eightfold AI that you can have a look at. I saw a demo of, is impressive. Talent intelligence systems are transforming into applicant tracking systems. New areas of talent acquisition include that interview intelligence I spoke about. There's also, just in terms of nurturing candidates, there's the automation of interaction, but also the agents that can be used to enhance the experience and stay connected with candidates or talent pools. So then also to the onboarding experience for all of these same reasons can be improved through tech and AI. The decomposition of a job, so traditional job-based systems are being replaced by decomposing jobs into smaller tasks, and the system can do all of this. So it's the hot area. If you're not using it all in recruitment, I would say just get started now on that. Another area, and there were loads of systems at the conference around skills and quite varying views. Some of them were quite narrow systems, some of them were part of the big vendors, but some of the messages that I got was these, not overcomplicating it with enormous competency frameworks, but not to say that for recruitment and development, we need to be clear on what the skills are for the positions. That also helps, and I saw the demo with success factors in terms of people being able to look at their own career pathways. So if I enter as a HR grad, being able to look at, so if the next level is an advisor or an officer, for example, is I can compare where I'm at and what the next step is and where my gaps are, and therefore be able to spit out from that a development plan to support me in that. And the manager also getting all of those types of information as well. So skill development opportunity for everyone, and many systems around. I'm just going to play a little video of, so at Unleash, they basically run a competition to support small HR tech companies using AI. There's winners, but they are shortlisted, I think possibly 20 in total, get to have a stand at the conference, just a small stand to sell or promote their wares. So this is just a video from one of them. I don't think it's going to work, unfortunately. I'll just skip past that, but happy to share that with anyone later on. But that one was about skills mapping, so it was quite interesting and impressive in terms of the automation that was there through AI and very personalised. So the next area, between this recruitment and EX, employee experience, so much opportunity, especially with the use of agents, probably through the use of two things actually, I think mostly. The use of agents and also with products like ServiceNow, but let me just work through some of these points to get there. So AI is definitely transforming the employee experience by turning tools into agents and bodies, people. So influx of AI-powered projects and systems just revolutionising the workplace. AI agents becoming more customisable, programmable, allowing companies to tailor them to the specific needs. So that means you can have a HR agent, you can name them, you can give them an avatar, you can even make them look like a person. So if I'm an employee of your company, I can come to the agent and ask them, what's my leave balance? Or I'm looking at my payslip and I don't understand how this is structured. Or I need to access the policy on parental leave, and it will guide them to all of these places. So the upside of that is it's reduced the amount of time the HR department has to spend on that. But from an employee experience point of view, it's getting that information for them right at their fingers. So it makes it all, really, it's a great experience for them, and therefore that's great for HR and the experience and engagement with employees. So the agents can be loaded with your corporate data. such as your REM models, compensation models, leadership models, the competency frameworks, your performance review type systems, whatever you're using, obviously all your policies, guidelines, templates, and it will use that information to provide that guidance to your employees. And again, the good thing is you build that inside your current system, so it keeps the security and privacy within your current framework without going outside, and helps with those issues around governance, security and privacy. One system that I know, talking to people, some have definitely come across, but I hadn't really looked at before, is a system called ServiceNow. So, and I'm not the expert, nor am I a referral partner or selling it whatsoever, but I just I think it's a great tool. So within organisations, we have all of these different systems, for operations, finance, IT, multitude. So when someone starts with an organisation, they'll be given like these 20 passwords, different swipes, all of these different types of things. What ServiceNow does is to sit over the top of all of those different systems. You have one login that goes there and all of those systems off that. And it sort of looks like an intranet page. You can also use it, my understanding is, for operations. So if you're an organisation, for example, that has some sort of ticketing system, like a professional like an IT company, when you log your issues, tickets, or, there's many others that do that as well. That can be in there as well. So to me, the upside of that is, from an employee experience, is I'm just being introduced to that one main system, and it's one place to go for all of that information. So I definitely recommend having a look at ServiceNow, and I will look at it more as well to talk and help clients. I'm sure there's others that are doing similar things, but that was just one that I was really impressed by. And ServiceNow, you saw them on the slide before, are significantly growing, because I think of this need that we have, that no one system is nirvana for an organisation. Microsoft, I have mentioned. So if you are sitting in a Microsoft environment, then Microsoft is investing a huge amount of money into continuing to innovate their tech, so and especially around Copilot. So strongly recommend, if you're already sitting in that environment, to make the use of Copilot, because again, it's also sitting within your current system rather than going outside to ChatGPT. Not to say that I'm not a fan of ChatGPT. So for example, and I think I mentioned, is like vacation approval processes. So the system can log and approve those for managers within parameters, or at least answer the questions about balances or how I do that. But that's all the parameters that you put on it. And I'll just make the point here, just in case I don't make it later on, is we're not going to be, none of this replaces the human element of I need to have a conversation with my manager, or of having a conversation with HR. But, I think as a HR function, we're not adding any value by answering the call in terms of what's my, how do I apply for parental leave, or where's the policy on recruitment, whatever that is. So, but I completely support and would stress the fact that the human element and people element of work is critically important, because we all crave and need human connection and contribution. So this one I don't think will work either. So, but it's just another product, which again, I'm happy to share. It's a really new product, actually, this one. It's only not even market cap yet. I think it's only in the UK, but I can share that. But just talking about other hot areas of use, and I'm not going to go into in detail. Another one that was discussed a lot was this combination of talent marketplace, internal mobility and gig work. So streamlining the matching of job and skill requirements to the available workers. There's a system called GLOAT, G-L-O-A-T. It's a leading system in this area. Also L&D, we mentioned the skills, but leading on from L&D, there's a whole lot of work in this area, especially around AI agents being used to support content development. And there's the continuing increased use of VR, virtual reality, in terms of the L&D space. So in terms of looking at the soon outlook, the close outlook in terms of HR tech and AI, I already said larger companies, larger tech companies continuing to acquire small companies to increase their breadth of service and product functionality. There's talent intelligence, so enhancing decision making. So it leverages AI to analyse data about employees, enabling better decisions. There was a whole lot of discussion at the conference around sentiment analysis. So using AI, which actually that last tool does, so I should share that, in terms of looking at data that comes from a whole lot of sources. So engagement surveys being one of them. So no matter what product you're using, that one that I was going to show, it looks at your engagement survey results, but it could also look at customer feedback, exit surveys, taking all of that information to look at the sentiment analysis of your employees. So that is definitely something that's happening and we'll see more of. Obviously, we've seen it aids in hiring, project assignment, promotion readiness, identification, and addressing compensation disparities. So even the demo I've seen of success factors definitely does that a manager can look at, someone within their team, and they can look at, like, across the organisation, someone in a similar level job, where does that person sit within the band for that job? So it's giving them information. It's not defining the decision, but it's information that is more readily at hand than what it would have been in the past. So the technology empowers organisations to make informed choices based on comprehensive data analysis. So the core HR platforms will start integrating the intelligent agents into their user interfaces, so right at the front end of their systems, with those generative features embedded across many modules. So then we're relying upon these HRM assistants, agents, for those employee tasks. So it's just ramping up and making full use of all that tech and AI that exists. So looking beyond, and there's a whole lot that we could look at beyond, but I'll just mention a few things that came out. So AI applications and future predictions, it's the evolving of those large language models, the LLMs, into more action models. So that's moving more. The action models can guide robots, for example, machinery, but actually doing, they're doing things. So they're thinking, the creativity with the doing. So AI agents, like I've said, you need to get onto AI agents. They're transitioning to that. Galileo is an AI agent like ChatGPT, assists users by asking relevant questions to guide problem solving. We'll definitely see more functionality around that problem solving capability of AI. The agents can provide personalised assistance such as vacation planning and availability checks. The vacation planning I've used myself, and it's impressive in ChatGPT. AI has numerous applications, including, if everyone's heard of the digital twins, that allow you to have a virtual presence and interaction at work. So when you're on leave, you could just leave your digital twin at work. People can ask your digital twin questions. It could even do some work. So that is in play. That will happen. Elon Musk predicts that each person will have at least 3 robots to enhance their lives in the coming decade. Those intelligent assistants and data systems will just become integral parts of our workplaces, and according to Elon Musk, our personal lives as well. So I don't know if that's scary, exciting for some, but something to think about. So I'm going to completely shift gear and give you, looking beyond like the big HR tech systems, is more just quick win little systems that you can probably use personally or with your teams now, because they're either free or low cost options. Hopefully you probably know some of these or most of them, but it might just give you some ideas. Okay, so this one I'm going to talk about is these areas. I'm actually not going to talk about MS Copilot because I think I've already covered that. So we'll work through the others. So the first one, so we have in ChatGPT, I've created, I'm assuming you can all sign up for it. It's Harry, the HR coach. She's not just for position descriptions. She's for anything. You can ask her HR questions, and she's actually been programmed around providing Australian information and language and using some of our IP to support her in terms of her advice. So please, I'd love you to try her out and send me some messages. I hope she's providing good advice. So let us know. But the point here is position descriptions. If you're not already using it for position descriptions or you don't have another system to do that, highly recommend it. We do a lot of position description development for clients. In the past, if we didn't know or didn't have similar, it could take us hours and hours and hours to develop those for clients. So now what we can do is, we've got this really unique position. We put that into ChatGPT. We're very clear with our prompts in terms of the structure, and we use performance outcomes and all these types of things, and we spit that out. And then at least we've got a foundation to work for with our client, which we send to the client for them to have a look at. And then when we're meeting with them, we've got something as a base, but that saves a significant amount of time. I would also say if you're doing, anything around tender writing, proposal writing, report writing, social media post and anything around marketing. It's ChatGPT and similar products are amazing and a huge time saver. What I will say is that please just don't rely on the information in ChatGPT. You still need to give it your own flavour and also make sure that the information is accurate. Secondly is a system called Adobe Firefly. It's about image creation. There's a free version of this. So you can see I put in for Harrison's, these are our colours basically, and I asked them to give us a female image in these colours. So you can see my prompt down the bottom there. Generate an image of a woman sitting in a modern office with white, blue and red decor, long dark hair, blue eyes, and be wearing a navy suit with white shirt. And that's what we got, which to me looked pretty lifelike. But these are some others that I got, and I haven't used this much lately, and maybe this is why. So just have a quick look at these. This was another one, which as you can see, they're looking a little bit deformed in their faces, but this is Brisbane. And then I did create this one of putting the Eiffel Tower on the banks of the river in Brisbane. But really an amazing product. Saying that now, DALL-E is integrated with ChatGPT, so it's doing some good stuff too. This is another tool. It's called Goblin.tools. It's a magic to-do list. So basically you could say, I'm going to be running a webinar in a month's time. You put that in, tell me all of the things that I need to do to be able to run my webinar in a month's time. So creating amazing to-do lists. You'll see, I don't have time to go across these, but you'll see across the top, there's Goblin does things other than magic to do. You'll see that across here. Standard operating procedures. This one actually sits in ChatGPT as an agent specifically. So it's an agent SOP Writer Pro, and any procedure you can talk about is this one's about the recruitment process, so just do me the flow chart for that. And again, it may not be perfect, but it's better than you sitting down for hours and starting from scratch, in my opinion, but you might want to do that. This is a PowerPoint, Gamma.app. They do beautiful PowerPoint presentations. So this one, all I did was to say, give it our website address and to say, create a PowerPoint presentation around the business, and with a strategic plan, obviously. And then it created this beautiful presentation, and we've used that a few times. It's amazing. We have now realised that we can put at a fee, we can put our branding into it as well. So it's amazing. So you definitely should look at more functionality. We love and use Canva. Canva, I think, will get there and is evolving, but this is just incredible. But obviously Canva is a broader product, and this is a bit different. This one, I'll play you. Oh, I won't. Oh, this one looks like it's going to work. You can't hear it. So this is a product called HeyGen. And basically what you do is I think it was 5 minutes of me, obviously on a previous webinar, recording, and then you give it a script and it reads it out for you. And it is absolutely incredible. So I would suggest, how could you use this for e-learning within your business as part of your onboarding, your ongoing training? But it is a great tool that I know other companies are using as well. So, hey, Jen. Yep. Okay, so let's talk about implementing the HR Tech and AI. So I think the first place to start is you, in terms of your own knowledge and continuing to gain your own competence in terms of AI, how it works, things like agents and prompts and all of these types of things, what your current HR Tech has on offer, asking those questions. But really, when we're looking at it, these are some things for you to think about. So your own knowledge, understanding, if you're going into ChatGPT or even others, they talk about hallucinations, but incorrect information as well, and understanding that may happen and how you can avoid that happening. And I just skip here for prompts. Prompts are so important in AI. So someone was telling me yesterday, unless your prompt's like 400 words, it's not a good prompt. I think that does depend on what you're asking for. But I know that if we're doing, for example, a tender response, is that I will put in all of the selection requirement around it. Then I will put in a previous one that we've done, plus potentially other information. I will give it the structure that I want it to respond in, to make sure that what I'm getting is a really good product. And even then you still check it, but it's hours and hours saved by doing that. But prompts are really important. Agents, you need to get your head around agents across an organisation. There is so much opportunity in using agents. So definitely get onto that. Get training for yourself, for your team, for your organisation. Security, privacy and governance we're going to cover on the next slide. But in terms of organisational transformation, it's an opportunity for HR to really lead that. There's a study out of Oxford Uni around 5 key challenges that are faced by advanced organisations that are leveraging AI in their organisation. So these challenges include maintaining a growth mindset, developing the necessary skills and effectively utilising the AI tools that you're implementing. So organisations must continuously update their skills and tools so they stay competitive in the rapidly evolving field of AI. You need to create a shared vision across the organisation and partnerships with your vendors for AI implementation. So that shared vision of what it is that we're trying to achieve, it's crucial in terms of a successful AI implementation. Different parts of the organisation have to collaborate for this to work. HR needs to be working with operations. Everything needs to be in sync, and it's a great opportunity for that. It can't be standalone, HR leading, operations leading, whatever it is. It needs to be a shared vision. An AI manifesto can help align stakeholders and create a common direction for everyone. So there are, we know, considerable questions around the ethics and technological advancements. So it does require a good discussion, robust discussion with an organisation about ethics and values in terms of use, and how we're going to use other technologies that come up like AI, but also quantum computing. Establishing ongoing processes to ensure there's agility and preparedness for making the most of these technologies, but being ready for that. Identifying your superstars, your early adopters within an organisation who can leverage the AI tools to help support that, and creating a supportive environment for psychological safety, because potentially, and this may be on the next slide, but I think is the importance of creating a psychologically safe workplace, and that needs to be around trust. So if there is going to be an impact on work, jobs, then we need to be really honest with the employees about what that looks like moving forward. So building that culture, so we're all open to making the best of the technology and AI that we're implementing. So HR's role is to lead this organisational transformation. They need to lead by helping to shift the mindsets and develop those new skills. So HR should focus on providing valuable tools and resource to the stakeholders collaborating, continuous learning are essential for that successful organisational transformation. Just to look at the ethical and legal considerations, there are a whole lot, but like I say, it's a really important organisational discussion that needs to happen at strategic levels. So to talk about some of them, and we did mention early on, is that bias and fairness. So unintentionally, the AI model could reinforce or exacerbate an existing bias in the hiring decisions or evaluations if trained on biased data. So, and this is the problem that organisations have already got into trouble with, is they look at past decisions and practices around hiring, which already had a bias in, and in the example earlier, was around white men. So therefore, the AI was set up to use that same practice in its future decisions, which created that discriminatory practice of hiring. So we need to be really clear about the information that we're putting into the system to ensure we do have fair practices coming out and non-discriminatory. Transparency and explainability. So we need to be able to explain what we're doing, how we're doing it, what the decisions are based off. And be able to clearly communicate that, because it should reflect our existing HR processes. It shouldn't create any new decision-making criteria. Privacy and data protection. So AI and HR relies on processing sensitive employee data, as we know. Raising concerns over privacy and potential misuse is a big issue, I know, for everyone. So ethical practice is to limit the data collection to what is absolutely necessary, anonymise data where possible, ensure strict adherence to data protection laws, the Privacy Act that we have in Australia, company policies regarding data handling, storage and access. Fourth one, employee consent and autonomy. So the issue, employees may not always be aware that AI is used in decisions affecting their employment, from hiring to performance reviews. So the ethical practice is around obtaining informed consent from employees before implementing AI systems that are going to impact their work life. Allow employees to have some control over their own data, how it's used and assessed by AI. Fifth consideration, accountability and liability. So the issue is when an AI system makes an error or a biased decision, it can be challenging to pinpoint where the accountability responsibility sits. Ethical practice is to define accountability clearly, ensuring HR and the organisation take responsibility for AI-driven decisions, maintain oversight of the systems and implement appeal mechanisms for dispute resolutions for employees to challenge the AI-driven outcomes. 6 is impact on job security and workforce dynamic. So this is what I was saying before. The issue is around automating tasks with AI may lead to workforce reductions or shifts in job roles changes, creating fears about job security. So we need to use AI to augment rather than replace human roles, focusing on automation that supports the employee's efficiency and reduces those mundane tasks. Implement upskilling programs to help employees adapt to those new AI-supported roles is the opportunity in this. So that's what we need to be looking for, that creating more meaningful work, but also giving the skills to people to be able to do that. 7 is the ethical use of predictive analysis. So predictive AI in HR, in terms of predicting turnover, suitability for roles, may invade privacy or perpetuate biases, like what we said. So we need to limit the predictive models to areas that generally benefit from employees in the organisation, that generally benefit those areas, and avoid making employment decisions based solely, as we should never, on the predictive analytics. Be cautious of data misuse and monitoring employee behaviour or performance. 8 is around that trust and culture, so building that trust and confidence, and that's really about being transparent, having open dialogues, calling for feedback, addressing concerns, being consultative in terms of what we're doing. For those, I'm sure many have heard about, there's a European Union have an Artificial Intelligence Act. It's a groundbreaking regulatory framework proposed by the EU to govern the use of AI across various sectors. It was introduced in 2021. I think it's still being finalised, but it will come into play, and it will actually be the global benchmark, I would think, and we'll see something similar here. It does, for any business that's doing any work in the EU, they need to comply with it. So therefore, it's quite far-reaching in terms of its implications for businesses, developers, and users of AI, whether or not they're in the EU or not. So some of the key features of what's gone into that Act is basically like a risk classification system of how the organisations using AI. There's specific obligations around the high risk AI users, and that's around data, tech docs and testing. But for everyone, there's transparency requirements around disclosure of use. There's data quality and governance requirements. There's a human oversight requirement. There's market surveillance. So basically what they're saying is they will be looking at how it's being used, because the next part is around compliance and enforcement, and there will be financial penalties. So, you know, overall, there's implications for businesses and HR departments. So we will all have to look at how organisations are going to deal with these ethical, legal, governance, privacy, trust, cultural implications of using AI in our organisations. So that is an important and very important topic that needs to be, if not already, on the radar for executive teams across all organisations. Most importantly, the message that I did receive is that we're not going to be replacing the role of people nor of HR professionals. So it's there to enable and but not replace. So what we've covered, the basics of AI, the essence of work, impacts and benefits of AI on work, the changing world, new skills, and the considerations, as well as the trends, the hot trends, the far-reaching trends in terms of our twin that's going to be sitting at work forever, and how some quick wins, how you could implement in your workplace. And finally, I just would talk about how Harrisons can help you. So we can definitely help you if you're looking at either reviewing your existing tech or looking for new tech. We can help you to analyse what your requirements are for your organisation, to scope that, to put that to market, and to help facilitate the selection process for you, with you. We have done with organisations their HR process mapping that they need to do before they're implementing a system, because we want the technology and the AI driving the system, not the system, the technology driving our processes. But for a good implementation, we need that information. We can help in terms of being a project manager or subject manager, management expert in terms of that tech implementation. We can help with the org change and the comms and the training for that new HR tech. We can deliver sessions similar to this, tailored to your organisations, around awareness training of AI and tech and what that looks like. So if you think you need help or may need help in any of those areas, please reach out and have a discussion. You can contact us. So thanks for attending today. Like I said, if you have any questions, please get in touch. If you haven't completed the survey, please do that, because that's valuable information that we will share with everyone as well. But my name is Claire Harrison of Harrisons, and bye for now.